Why is it that you are allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited?
Again, I'm going to have to refer you to my previous statements. And
what was your previous statement, sir?
That I am unable to comment on any of the ongoing litigation.
Okay, can you name the ongoing case concerning President Trump's immunity from audit?
Linda Sánchez just put Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on the defensive in a brutal congressional showdown over Donald Trump's IRS protection. Using a landmark Supreme Court ruling, Sánchez argued that the administration had created an extraordinary shield for Trump, his family, and his business empire, protection ordinary Americans would never receive. Bessent tried to redirect the questions toward the Justice Department, but Sánchez kept pressing. Who approved this deal? How far does the immunity reach? And why is Trump being treated differently? Watch this explosive exchange unfold.
Mr. Secretary, do you believe that all Americans should follow our tax laws?
Yes, Congresswoman.
Yes, good. So do I. And do you believe that for those Americans who break our tax laws, they should be audited or held accountable?
Well, I think there are two things there. An audit is not a result of breaking the law.
Yes or no? Simple question.
Well, no, it's not a simple question. It's
okay,
a two-part
then
question.
let me break it into two. Do you think they should?
If you're asking
please
me,
don't
should every
interrupt
taxpayer
me.
be audited?
Please answer that. I came here for answers. If you came here to waste time, I'm going to try to make sure you don't do that. Do you believe that people who lie on their tax returns should be audited?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that people who break our laws should be held accountable, our tax laws?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Very simple. Not a hard question. No. I'm glad we agree. So why is it that you are allowing President Trump to have complete immunity from being audited?
Again, I'm going to have to refer you to my previous statements. And
what was your previous statement, sir?
That I am unable to comment on any of the ongoing litigation.
Okay, can you name the ongoing case concerning President Trump's immunity from audit?
Sorry?
Can you name?
There are three cases.
Can you name them, please?
That are out there now, and I will be happy to get back to you on those because, again, I am not a lawyer.
Okay.
Sánchez just stripped away Bessent's entire excuse with a few basic questions. He agreed that people who lie on their tax returns should be audited and that tax laws should apply to everyone. But the moment she asked why Donald Trump appears to receive special protection, Bessent hid behind vague references to ongoing litigation and could not clearly identify the case. That is the contradiction. One standard for ordinary Americans and another for Trump.
Wait, we are represented by the DOJ.
Great. You said that you can't because there's ongoing litigation. You'll get me the name of the ongoing litigation because the only ongoing litigation that I know of is surrounding the $1.8 million slush fund, which has already been suspended.
Bessent's defense is now falling apart in real time. First, he claimed he could not answer because of ongoing litigation. Then, when Sánchez demanded the actual case, he admitted he was not a lawyer and pushed responsibility back toward the Justice Department. But Sánchez immediately exposed the problem. The legal dispute he appeared to be relying on had already been suspended. In other words, the excuse was becoming harder to defend with every answer. Instead of explaining who approved this protection and why Trump received it, Bessent kept passing the question somewhere else.
The fact is that the judge's ruling in the litigation that references that slush fund only addresses the anti-weaponization fund. It doesn't even address Trump's immunity from audit. So I would like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the judge's order in the Floyd versus Department of Justice case.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, Secretary, you said you're not an attorney. Is that correct?
Mercifully.
Okay. Well, I am, and I'm actually proud to be an attorney and know the laws, and I know how to read a judicial ruling. Furthermore, I know that since 1962, the Supreme Court has held that ongoing litigation does not prevent someone from testifying in a congressional hearing. So once again, I'm going to ask, why are you allowing President Trump and his family to have complete immunity from being audited?
Sánchez just exposed how extraordinary this protection really is. According to her argument, this was not a temporary delay tied to one legal dispute. It was a sweeping shield covering Trump, his family, his trusts, and his businesses. And while ordinary Americans can be audited, investigated, and forced to answer for every dollar, the president's financial empire appears to receive a completely different standard. Bessent still has not explained who approved it, why Treasury accepted it, or where this protection ends. At this point, the question is no longer whether Trump received special treatment. It is how much protection was quietly granted.
Again, since you're a lawyer, you will understand that the U.S. Treasury and the IRS are represented by the Justice Department and the Acting Attorney General.
Yes, but I just mentioned a Supreme Court case that doesn't bar you from testifying. It's pretty clear to me, though, however, that you're not interested in answering questions. You're interested in arguing. Let me ask you this question. If President Biden amended a prior tax return and claimed that he was owed $1 billion, do you think that that would be audited, or should it be audited?
I'm not going to talk about any
because you're not really here to answer questions. I don't understand why you wouldn't audit that, and I don't understand why you wouldn't do the same for President Trump. So the ruling by the Justice Department,
do you have specific knowledge of an audit of President Trump?
Excuse me. It's my time.
You're
not here to ask me questions. I'm here to ask you questions, and hopefully you're here to try to answer some of them. I'm curious to know who counts as Trump's family for the purposes of this immunity. Is it his children, his in-laws, his grandchildren, his second or third cousin, his great-great-grandchildren? Do you know the answer to that question, Mr. Secretary?
Again, I imagine you have the Justice Department phone number. I would suggest you call them.
I'm not the one that runs the Department of the Treasury or that oversees what is happening with this immunity has been granted.
I'm not the one either. We follow the instructions of our lawyers, and we obey the law,
I
Representative.
hope that you're proud of your performance today, Mr. Secretary, because
I hope you get some social media clips.
I think it's pretty safe to say that this is probably the most corrupt Treasury Department in our nation's history. And
Linda Sánchez has now exposed the heart of this entire controversy. A special order appears to protect Donald Trump, his family, his trusts, and his businesses from future IRS audits. Yet the Treasury Secretary refuses to explain who authorized it or why it exists. Instead of giving Congress a direct answer, Bessent keeps shifting responsibility to lawyers in the Justice Department. Sanchez's accusation is devastating. Ordinary Americans face audits, penalties, and full enforcement, while Trump's financial empire appears to receive a permanent shield. This is no longer just a tax dispute. It is a test of whether the law applies equally to everyone.
I am going to have to
While you dance around questions to protect Trump, Americans are suffering in Trump's spiraling economy. Inflation is now rising faster than average hourly wages. Gas prices are at an all-time high with the war in Iran. The cost of groceries has risen 3.2% over the past years. And prices on most goods have gone up because of Trump's tariffs. So I don't see how you could call that anything other than a failure of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history.
Your time has expired, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Secretary, I would love for you to respond to the accusations at your department, because I think you are due the opportunity for that.
The Congresswoman is slanderous. She has nothing but the unsubstantiated opinions, and I will not stand for that. There is nothing corrupt. We move at the highest levels.
Linda Sánchez forced this hearing to confront a question the Trump administration clearly did not want answered. Why should one president, his family, his trusts, and his businesses receive protection that ordinary Americans could never expect? Scott Bessent rejected the accusation, called Sanchez's claims slanderous, and insisted that Treasury operates at the highest level. But he still did not clearly explain who approved the arrangement or why it was necessary. That is the issue Congress must now investigate. Because when accountability disappears for the powerful, equal justice becomes nothing more than a slogan.